Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you once again for joining me. Today, we don't have tea time. Today, I'm actually on the road. You're gonna have to excuse the video a little bit and the noisiness of the car, but I'm on the way to shoot, and I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about gear and what we use, what we don't use, why we use it, and how important it is to be kind of agnostic. So this is more like a vlog, me hanging out in the car talking to you guys. But before I get into it, as I always say, if you haven't went and downloaded my ebook as of yet, why the hell not? Go grab it. It's free, guys. It's free. 10 tips of making tack sharp images. There's something there for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a professional, a pro-am, or an amateur. You're going to get something out of it. So go download it. JCristina.com/ebook. Once again, JCristina.com/ebook. So, once again, I'm in the car. I'm heading down south to shoot. We're doing a episodic TV program today. Of course, like I always tell you, a lot of the stuff that I do is NDA'd, so I can't tell you which program and all the rest of this stuff, and I can't show you pictures, but kind of is what it is. I just talked a little bit about it. That's about all that I can do. I just can't get into specifics. So anyways, that's what ends up happening a lot when you work on set of different shows or different movies and whatnot. It's a lot of the stuff that you do is NDA'd, and the reason being is they want to be able to sue you if you go and leak stuff. But I've been doing this for so many years now, over 2 decades, so most of the people trust me, so I don't really have to worry about it too much, but you still have to sign these NDAs no matter what. So, once again, excuse this camera angle. It's kind of funny. You're going to see me shifting and all the rest of the stuff, but just don't even watch the video. Just listen to me. Maybe we'll make it into a podcast. Anyway, so I just want to talk to you a little bit about it and the gear that we use. Now, in this show, we use a lot of Panasonic gear. So, you know how much I absolutely love Panasonic gear. Yeah, maybe not so much. Well, I really shouldn't say that, because if you've been watching me for any given time, you know that I'm always ragging on Panasonic, but for only one reason, right? Only one reason. And that is because of their autofocus system sucks. They know it. Everyone knows it. Now, let me just stop for a second, because people will just start yelling in the comment area. Their system for pulling focus is contrast detect. And for doing simple photography, in most lighting situations, it's good enough. Back to the whole good enough thing, right? But when you're trying to pull constant video and the focus is continuously changing, contrast detect is, I would say, borderline useless. It just doesn't work. We can't use it. So instead of using Panasonic glass, like for example, we shoot a S1H, we also shoot some EVA 1s. If you don't know what those are, they're cinema cameras basically. And instead of using the Panasonic lenses, we use Canon L glass with EF mounts on it, on all of them. We have like 4 of them in there, but it just works out better. We have to pull focus, of course, but no matter what, it still ends up being better than trying to let Panasonic try to figure out focus. Even if you're tapping on the screen, it just loses its mind. It starts doing this pulsating thing, kind of like this camera is doing right now in the car, jittering around as I'm going over bumps. But it's a mess. It's a complete mess. So we don't use it. But anyways, the idea here is that I usually shoot product or cameras that are specific to a job. So it doesn't matter what it is. If I'm shooting just general event coverage, I'll shoot like a 1D or I'll shoot a 5D Mark IV or something like that. If I'm going to instead shoot a fashion show or a fashion shoot, or if we're doing high-end portraiture, or if we're doing product photography, then a lot of times we'll bring in a medium format. Most of the time, they're Hasselblads. I haven't yet jumped into the Fujifilm side of it, but I definitely want to check out now the 100S, see how that GFX 100S works out for us. So I might rent in a Hasselblad and a Fujifilm GFX 100S and do like a side-by-side on the next big project when we're dealing with either fashion or if we're doing product photography or something like that. So be on the lookout for that, because I want to know how it compares, because the sensor is smaller on the Fuji, but does it matter is the question, or is it enough? Fujifilm on the short side is about 33 millimeters by I think 43 millimeters, something like that. It's still massive. Just think 33 millimeters compared to like 24 or 16 or 12 on a micro four thirds, or 11, something like that. So it's a massive sensor, and it brings a lot of data to the table, and that's why we use them. But anyways, the idea here is to be agnostic. Too many people that I see in the comment area, they're very, I wouldn't call fanboyish, but kinda. They always want to make a point of what they use and then justify the use of it. And what I've always been a proponent on this channel is to be agnostic and not really worry about what you're shooting. Just shoot whatever works the best for what you're doing. And that is it. The side note to that is to learn everything. When I go on set, sometimes I'm working as a DP, and then I get to select what cameras and what rigs and everything, what lighting, what flags, what everything that is brought onto the set, what it is, and what manufacturer it is, or whatever. But when I'm going, like for example today, I'm going to be an operator, and as an operator, I use whatever the hell they have. And I need to know all of it. I can't be like, I usually shoot, C500s, C700s, or C300s, Canon stuff. This EVA I can't use, or this red I can't use, or this ARRI, whatever. No, you need to be able to use everything in the profession. So, I would say if you have the ability or the opportunity to rent in gear, I would say rent in a competitor's camera, something that you're interested in, and get like a quick 50 or something, or maybe a zoom, something that you use all the time. Rent it in and test it out. Compare it to the gear that you have currently to see if your gear is really the best as you think it is for the job that you do. Because that's the whole thing. It's all about the gear in, let's say, accordance to what you use it for. So if you use it for mainly, let's say, product shots, well, the gear that you have might not be conducive for using it for product shots. Maybe it's micro four thirds, and it would be really great to be able to give the client massive files that come out of a medium format or even a full frame. So once again, it depends on your use case, but also on the clients. What do they expect, number one, or what do you know they should be using, number two? Because remember, we're not only photographers or videographers or DPs or whatever. We're teachers, we're instructors, and we explain to people why we are requesting or telling them that this gear or this size file or this specific profile or whatever it is good. Why is it? And that's what our job is to tell them why and to help them along the path of producing the best product that they can. So for me, a lot of it is commercial work. So I know that if I'm going to be shooting for a watchmaker, all right, I'm going to use medium format, I'm going to use some really beautiful macro lenses, and we're going to get some amazing shots. Doesn't matter if it's video or if it's photo, all right, they're just going to be more detailed. There's more pixels to play with, let's just say, or higher quality pixels to push around. And that a lot of times is very important. And like I always say, when we shoot fashion, sometimes we're shooting bust up shots, but then later on, they want to punch in to be able to get a set of earrings or punch in to be able to get makeup. And they don't want to shoot another shot for it. They want to use the same one. So there's continuity between all three in their, let's say, magazine ad or whatever it is that they're working on, or a TV spot or something. So to have all that data, it's awesome, because now they have a greater latitude when it comes to, in post-production, to play with it and to do whatever they want. So you would use a higher megapixel, maybe medium format for that kind of work. Conversely, if you're doing something that is really intensive low light, maybe you don't need the megapixels as much, and you need something that has extreme low light performance, like a Sony a7S III or something that could really, really hold its own when it comes to dynamic range and have a greater latitude in dark situations. So there's always a camera that's perfect for certain situations, but there's no one camera that's perfect for all situations. So knowing or testing a lot of different gear is really beneficial, extremely beneficial. So, like I said, there's something to be said about renting in gear, testing it out. Even if it costs you $100, $150 to do it, it gives you an idea of what other, let's say, manufacturers could provide you doing the exact same work that you always do. And later on, it might say to yourself, maybe I should sell the gear that I have right now and move into this gear because it works out better for what I use it for. And that's, once again, what it all comes down to. What is your use case? And that's why when people ask me, what camera do you use? And it's like, well, I can tell you what cameras I use, but it's not going to help you at all. The question is, what camera should you be using for your use case? What is that camera? That is the most important thing, all right? So those are the kind of things that I would say that's very important to think about when you do these things, when you are out there shooting photography, when you're doing videography, when you're working as, let's say, a DP or something. It's educate yourself in all of the gear so that you can make a better, let's say, more informed decision to what gear to use when you capture an image or capture video or capturing whatever. It's the same thing that holds true with video. What do you use to capture that video? What are you doing with it? It's the same thing that holds true with audio. Do you need a high-end Electro Voice RE20 for $500 with another $300 worth of compression and then another? Do you need that? Or can you get by with like a Rode or like a little lapel mic like I'm using right now on my iPhone? Is it good enough for what we're doing here? Well, I think so, right? I think it's all right. I'm sure it sounds okay. I hope so, at least. In post-production, maybe it'll sound like crap. And then I'll have to edit it out and be like, sorry, this thing didn't work out. But, it's something to think about, all right? And once again, look at the gear that you have and don't always think that it is the best out there and try to justify your purchase by becoming a fanboy of that specific manufacturer. It just is not healthy. It's not good, and it doesn't allow you to grow as a videographer, a photographer, a DP, a creative in any bit of industry, even in the art industry. I am an artist, right? So what I use to create my art is going to be different for the different art that I create, right? It just simply makes sense if you think about it. But people sometimes, they get stuck in this like quagmire. They get stuck in the mud and they get stuck in this whole mindset that they have, the gear that they purchase is by far the best gear, out there. It's the best gear since sliced bread, as I always say. And it's just simply not the case. It's not always. Sometimes it is. But a lot of times it's not the case. And you find out later that, wow, this specific camera just does a better job than what I currently use. Well, maybe it's time for you to move to a different platform or maybe a different body, a different camera. Maybe it's the exact same manufacturer that you currently have, but the body itself is no longer doing what you need it to do. And that goes back to the idea of what you need it to do in use case. People say, should I upgrade my camera? And my answer always has been, and it's going to always be, that the only time you upgrade your camera is when, number one, the camera that you're going to upgrade to does something that's going to make your life less miserable. It's going to allow you maybe to edit easier in post-production, saving you time. Once again, time is money, right? Or it's just a camera that's going to make it more intriguing or more fun to be able to shoot with, all right? Something that's easier to do what you're doing. All right, so there's only a few reasons. But if you have a camera that does everything that you need it to do right now, and you don't need anything else, nor does your client need anything else. Perfect example is, let's say if I'm shooting all 1080p equipment, and I have a client that says, I need 4K. Well, now all of a sudden it's time to start thinking about 4K and looking into gear, maybe renting gear at first, and seeing if the client is going to continue to want this 4K or maybe not, or maybe you only have this client for a short period of time. And if that's the case, maybe you don't want to buy, you just want to simply rent. So those are a couple of reasons why you want to upgrade your gear. Most of the time, I would say 9 times out of 10, the gear that you have, you are not utilizing to its fullest potential anyways. Use the money, instead of buying gear, buy education. That's it. Sometimes you just need to learn how to use your gear that you currently have better than the next guy. But that's it. Simple as that. You don't have to get crazy about always following the trend, always following the latest and greatest gear that's out there. And now all of a sudden you have literally $10,000 worth of equipment and you're doing like $10,000 worth of business a year. And it's going to take you a year and a half to be able to break even and push ahead a little bit. That just doesn't make sense, right? Doesn't make sense. But a lot of people do that all the time. It's the same thing of doing like YouTube stuff, right? People consider me a YouTuber. Well, I do a lot of things. I wear a lot of hats, but we can say I'm a YouTuber. Well, if I was to go and buy all of the hottest gear out there, and I just do this YouTube channel as you see me on all the time, right? Well, if you didn't know it, I only make a couple of $100 like in a month doing this YouTube channel, all right? They don't pay a lot for me putting out these videos as I always do. It's a very small stipend that I get. It's very, very little. So imagine if I was to go and spend thousands. Some of these people do thousands of dollars at gear because they think that their channel is going to blow up, because their channel looks great and their lighting is perfect and their audio is the bomb and their camera is like the latest and greatest, and they literally have like a $700 lens that they're using. It is just the wrong way to go about things. Simply the wrong way. Use what you got until whatever you got just can no longer do what you need it to do or what your client needs it to do. That's the time when it's time to upgrade. Until then, don't bother. So I want to ask you guys, what do you use for the work that you do? Do you use one piece of equipment all the time? Do you use multiple cameras? Do you use multiple flashes, multiple lenses from different manufacturers? Or are you stuck on one manufacturer, one type of lens, and that's it? Is that because you think that it's the best, or is it because you don't have money to purchase other gear? All right. Also, have you tried other gear? Maybe renting it or borrowing it from a colleague or friend, family member? Have you tried other gear? Or is it only the gear that you currently have that you use over and over and over ad nauseum? What is it? Hopefully after listening to this, you might get an idea or hopefully an inclination to go and rent gear or go check out some other gear if you haven't in the past and test things out and then report back. And hopefully it ends up showing you something that you didn't already know. Maybe it shows you that your gear is the absolute best gear out there for what you're doing. And then I congratulate you because you found it right away. That doesn't happen very often. Or maybe you tested out the gear and you said, the gear that I thought was the best really isn't, but this is. And it's cheaper than what I currently have. That happens a lot. So many times people will buy cameras that are more expensive because you think that they're better. I can't tell you how many people have done that. I would go to events. Now, if you didn't know, for many, many years, I used to work events that were high-end events, gala events with just famous people, actors, actresses. I mean, the guy who invented the pom-pom, for the love of God. You know what I mean? I mean, really big people. Donald Trump, all right? The old president. This is before he was even a president, even thought about being a president. Anyways, way back. in the late 90s, early 2000s. Okay, so I've been doing this for a long time. And what I found that would always happen is people would come up and they would say, oh, can we see that picture that you just shot? And I would show them the picture. They'd be like, oh my goodness, that's beautiful. Is the lighting is right, everything is good. I have like a 1D or a 5D Mark IV or something with a bracket and a light at the top, so I have continuous light at the exact same angle. Everything is the way it should be. Looks perfect, right? They look at that like, what camera is that? What lens are you using? What? Because they think in their mind, if they were to buy that camera, they're going to get the exact same image. And it's just never the case. And this happens all the time. I'll go back to these venues, and later on I'll talk to someone. They'll be like, yeah, I went out and I bought that 5D Mark IV, and I have this lens, this 24 to 70 2.8 that you have. And it's just, the images are just, they're not the same. They don't look that good. I don't know why. The camera phone that I use ends up being clearer than what I shoot with the 5D Mark IV. Why is that? This is the kind of stuff that I hear all the time, and I'm sure you guys, if you work events or if you do what I've been doing for a long time, you'll hear the same type of thing. A lot of it just has to do with the people not knowing how to take a picture. That's it. The settings, your ISO, right? Your shutter speed, your f-stop. Do you know how to set it up? Or do you just throw it on P for professional, as I always call it, and then just hope for the best? Hope that the camera does what it's supposed to do. And most of the time, it doesn't, right guys? It doesn't. So it's knowing the gear, knowing the camera, knowing how to get the shots. Also, I find some people, what they'll do is they'll take these pictures with the lenses strapped onto the cameras, and they'll actually do everything right. Let's say they'll aim at the person's eyes, they'll pull the trigger, and then they'll show it to me, and the person's eyes is blurry. They're like, I don't understand. And then they'll do it again. And I'm like, well, maybe the guy is shaking. And I'll take the camera and I'll do the exact same thing, and sure damn enough, the eyes are blurry, but the tip of the nose is like rock solid clear. Then I'll tell them, well, you need to dial in your autofocus lens calibration. They're like, what the hell is that? And of course, so I made the focus pyramid autofocus lens calibration tool way back like 12 years ago. I just tell them, go buy one of these, set it up, take a couple of pictures, and then you can dial it in, and then every lens that you snap onto that body will be dialed in perfectly to where you actually set the little square where it says it's going to be in focus. That's what's in focus. Not front focusing, not back focusing, exactly where you set it. They're like, oh. So there's a lot to it that people they don't know. And once again, it goes back to educating yourself. Educate, especially on the gear that you have. So many times people with just a little bit of education start taking amazing pictures using the exact same gear that they had for the last 5 years just by getting the education. So it's just something to think about. But anyways, I'm about, 20 minutes into this, 25 minutes into this. So that means I'm about 35 minutes from getting to where I need to get to go and do this filming. Once again, this is going to be an episodic video, TV show actually, that we're going to be doing. So should be fun. We'll tell you maybe more about it in the next video, let you know how it went, but it should be pretty good. So anyways, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel and you like this type of content or any of the other 500 videos, guys, that I have, oh my God, this road. If you like the videos that I make, these 500 plus videos I make, go and subscribe to the channel. Please give this video a thumbs up, even though it's just a rocking, shaking mess. Hopefully some of the content is worthwhile listening to, at least. Give it a thumbs up, that'd be helpful. Also, click the little bell icon, as I always say, somewhere around here. Click that bell icon so that when I go live or when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. Also, after having the conversations in the comments below this video, head over to community.JCristina.com. Once again, community.JCristina.com. Head over there. It's free. You can pay if you want a couple of bucks, but you don't have to. It's free to get into that creative Discord server. It is awesome. There's a lot of just brilliant people over there. And They're all there helping people. So 24/7, 365 days a year, there's someone there. So go to community.JCristina.com. Also, as I always say, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've made for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. You can use promo code YT20 at checkout. Once again, promo code YT20 at checkout. You'll get 20% off everything in your shopping cart for getting to the end of this video. So that's it, guys. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe and stay healthy. Are you still there? You guys are still there. All right. I'm going to push through this traffic. We're doing 80 on the turnpike heading south. I just want to tell you guys, you probably haven't heard this in the past, but I'm going to tell you something. This is like after the video here, a little bit extra. The reason being, I have so much DP work. This is right now actually running a camera, but the reason I have so much DP work is because down here in South Florida is turning into LA. All right. So you have Miami, Palm Beach, and you have Orlando. It's literally turning into California. All of the TV production, or not all, but a ton of TV production, movies, everyone is coming here. We're getting about 300,000 new people, houses being built, 300,000 every year, and they don't have an end to this estimation. So if you guys are into video, any type of photo, creative work that you would normally say, oh, I need to go to LA for that, you might just need to come down here, hang out with me in Florida, because there is a ton of studios coming up daily. I know of 2 right now being built, literally from the ground up. Millions of dollars on these studios. So anyways, just a little side note, if you don't know why this is happening, why everyone is coming down here in comparison to California, this might have something to do with it, and that we don't need them here any longer. But I can't say what it is because I'll probably get flagged and shut down or who knows what. So anyways, you get it. I think you get it. Take care. We'll see you soon.